Hi, this is Kai from Kikai Craft, and I just want to update everyone and also document this for myself as to how I've progressed with the journal system. Okay, so just to give everybody a tiny bit of history, I've always liked to bring around a notebook. I've already used like the Filofax, I've used Moleskin, I've used just ordinary notebooks like gifts from companies and all that. And very recently I stuck with using a Kokuyo with a soft ring binder. That's perfect, but it's a bit too smooth for the fountain pen. So, and a bit too big actually, to be honest. So what I've done is over the course of the holidays, I've tested the Traveler's Notebook, and I first got it in passport size because if you watched my first video on this, you would know that I thought that this size, the regular size, was a bit too narrow and too long for me. But obviously I changed my mind since then. The passport size is a very good size for my creative ideas, for my thoughts, for my musings, my writings, my colors, and I thought this was fantastic for it. But when I work, and I will be going back to work in a week or two, I need really a bigger space. Now I usually use an A5 for this. This is not the A5 I use, but this is an A5 notebook. And so as you can see, there's a big change in size, right? So I knew already from the get-go that I won't be able to use this for work, and I needed a bigger system. And so I started toying with the idea of getting a regular size traveler's notebook. And so I consulted with one of the traveler notebook experts I know, the owner of Things I Love, which is a shop on Tokopedia in Jakarta. And she suggested, just for me to try and find out if I like it, she suggested either I get myself a refill and handle that refill for a bit. It's less expensive than getting a cover. And if I really want to go super like cheap option, just get a piece of paper and cut it based on the dimensions of the regular size traveler's notebook. I didn't have paper, but I did have access to a few shops in the Philippines, namely Scribe PH, Scribe in the Philippines, and they do have some refills. And that very day, actually, I went to the shop and I had a visit, and I got myself a traveler's notebook lightweight paper refill. It's 128 pages, and it's supposed to handle fountain pen really well, and it does. I've already tried it. It cost me 245 pesos. That's about maybe $5. And so I tried it. I even wrote some poetry inside it. I just, basically tried it out, and I thought the size, the width was just perfect for work. And so I started looking for a really nice traveler's notebook in regular size. And I was very pleasantly, I very pleasantly stumbled upon LeatherLibraryPH. And this is what I got from LeatherLibraryPH. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Okay, it's definitely bigger, it's wider and taller than my passport. And if you compare it to the Traveler's Company Traveler's Notebook, the folio is wider. Move that away so you can see better. The folio is wider, and it is also just a tiny bit taller, just by a tiny bit. And the do you call them, the atelier who put this together for me was very kind enough to do a bit of a rush job because I was leaving the Philippines very soon after I found her shop. So she very nicely, very thoughtfully put together a notebook that I wanted with the pocket that I asked for in this leather called the old quarter. I love the leather. You can see it already has some scuff marks. It came like that, and it is, I just love it. It's very good quality. It's quite thick. The stitching is very secure. You can see that, see, look at that. It's just, if you move, the leather sort of moves with you. It's, I don't know, this old quarter thing is just beautiful. I'm so glad that she said she would put it together for me. Just a few features of this traveler notebook sized folio. It has the same sort of like elastic, but instead of it being at the back, which you will find in Traveler's Company, it is actually on the side, which means when you write, you won't have that bump in the back. It also comes with pockets inside. I think that's perfect. Okay, and a lot of elastics where you can put in all your notebooks, your refills. Okay, and here is the knot inside. Okay, so this is beautiful. So I actually put together a setup for this, and I carried it around with me, and what I found out was that this piece is a bit heavy, and my bags, well, the bag I brought to the Philippines was a little small, and so it didn't quite fit, and I was thinking about bringing it to work and all that, and I thought this cover is fantastic for traveling because it makes sure that the refills are secure. As you can see, there is I don't know if you can see it, very little chance of an overhang because this is quite long, and it really secures the notebook. And so I toyed with the idea of getting myself the Traveler's Notebook from Traveler's Company, and when I came back to Jakarta, I spoke to the owner of Things I Love, and she had a blue one, and I was debating whether to get the camel one or the blue one, but I really like blue. My backpack with my laptop and everything for work is in blue, so that I thought, yeah, I think it's a good idea to just get a blue one. So I did, and it is much thinner than Leather Library's beautiful folio, and lighter as well. So I remove this. Both, by the way, come with the Traveler Company's blank notebook. I was actually very pleasantly surprised that it was included in the Leather Library folio. Just as a very simple, non-scientific weight check, this is definitely heavier than this. This is much lighter, and it has a smaller like mass, right? So I thought this would be fantastic for when I travel. It really will secure my notebooks, but this would be good if I'm just at my workplace and I don't need so much protection for my refills. Okay, that's a little stubborn. All right, so how do I set it up? It's for my work, it's a very simple setup. I don't use any monthly planners. I just go and write notes all the time. I do bullet journaling. By that, it's basically a lot of to-do lists and a lot of little notes about on minutes of meetings and just ideas, mostly about work. So I don't think I'll be needing these. These feel a bit too heavy, so I'm going to put that aside. And so for my work journal, I'll just be using lightweight paper because more pages, lighter than this. Again, super non-scientific, but it does feel much lighter. I toyed with the idea of using the Rubiki note. Okay, so if you see it's in grid, I like using grid whenever I need to deal with things at work because it really helps me write my bullets. But I thought it was so pretty. I got this from the Philippines. I cannot find it here. It's a Yamamoto paper. And look at that nice waxy You hear that? So I want to keep this for a special occasion. What that occasion is, I don't know, but I want to put that away until I know I can get more of them. And like I mentioned earlier, I use grid at work. So I got myself the Traveler's Notebook grid. That's a 002. All right, so I know I'll be using these two. This one came as a freebie from Things I Love. Very sweet. And of course I have little one, and I have my charms. This is just an extra. I toyed with the idea of using the craft paper folder, and I got myself one, but I wanted to just use one of these. This one has always been a very good thing to have around. Some plastic pocket. So what I'll do is I'll just put this aside in case I find any need for it, and I'll be using this. And of course, I'll be using the bands. Quick note about the bands. This is the first time I've actually read the instructions. Not sure if my passport bands had these instructions, but where's my passport? My passport band, if you saw a previous video of mine, actually broke. See? It was actually a blessing in disguise, because that allowed me to make a knot, and that knot sort of secured the inner two notebooks in, so it's not like jutting out. So much so that sorry cat hair, that I went and I also put a knot here, even if it's not broken, just to anchor and secure these two inner notebooks down, so that I don't have them jutting out here. So you can see they're quite flush, and with the help of this, it sort of keeps the notebooks together. I love this. Okay, so I'm gonna set it up pretty much like I set up my other one, but this is going to be much thinner because of work. And for work, I have this. Mostly this is going to be for work, so I need to make sure I have access to refill as soon as this is done. I do go through this fairly quickly, and even if this is in my work journal or notebook, this is really going to be more for the, as Wordsworth said, the breathings of my heart. So this is for poetry that just jumps at me, or for poetry that I think of. There's actually one poem that I wrote. This is when I was just checking if it felt good. I was thinking I'd put in like just important things here, you know, like important for me personally that I happen to acquire while at work. Okay, and this is purely for work. So definitely putting these two together. And then of course I'll be using this to put in whatever little note that I need to put in. So of course I'll need this. Now here in the instructions it says stretch the band well before using it, because it might break, just like what happened to my passport size one. So I want to use a brown one for this. I love browns and blues. Those are my two favorite colors: brown, blue, purple. And if you look at my collection, smattering of pink and burgundy. Yeah, so that kind of thing. What is this for? I'll show you in a bit. If you've seen my previous Traveler's Notebook video, you kind of have an idea already of what I'm going to be using it for. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put these two together. Make sure that the band is as straight as possible. Okay, I've stretched the band already because obviously I've tried this setup. Okay, all right. And this is what I'm going to put here, but let me put that aside. Of course, I want to use this too. So let's check it out. Okay, this is a bit too big, if you notice, for the notebook. So I think I'm gonna cut it a bit. I'll be using it as some sort of blotter paper. I have another one here that I can use. So the idea, of course, is to have this at the back, just like so. Okay, and this in the middle, just like so. And that's basically it. I'll be putting these aside. And since this is for work, okay, I want to sort of remind myself that it's not how quick you do it, but how sure you are when you do it. And what better reminder than this little turtle for tortoise and the hare story. I found this as I was rummaging through my old journals in the Philippines, and I thought, you know, I really want to make sure that my journals are, like, I don't know, personal really. And then, much like in my other journal, I'll be inserting this here, okay, to sort of protect the band. Just to let you know, when I got this from Leather Library and I talked to her about it, she was very sweet. She sent me these extra bands or extra leather strips that I can use for this. But I have yet to get scissors and a pointy object that can go through this beautiful leather. So I am actually thinking about how to do that. In the meantime, for this, just like normal, you unknot it, okay, and when you unknot it, just like so, all right, you have to make sure that the string goes, okay, let me see if I can focus it for you. Okay, so what I did was I just cut off this tab that I found in my old like phone holder, and I put this by the stove, the range, so that it kind of melted it so it wouldn't fray. Did it for the other side. It's not beautiful, but it works. Then I cut these with some scissors, these little holes, and then I heated up the scissors and I sort of like put it through and sort of let it rest there so that it would melt it and it wouldn't fray so much. At least I hope it doesn't. Okay, and of course just a little bit of imagination. This will be at the back. I will need to put it on like this. So this has to go in, okay, because of course it's the tab that needs to be this will work for this, so that's nice. And then for my LeatherLibraryPH one, okay, I really am looking forward to using this when I travel, because you see here there's a nice little case where I can put my fountain pen. And for this one, I don't think it needs that, but if I think it does, I'll need to try and figure it out using this. I try to figure out how to put that in. And for this one though, I have another charm. This one says, see if I can zoom it in for you. This one says, once upon a time. and I think it's very apt if I will use this for my work travel. All right, so that's how I've set up the whole, by whole I mean two journals that I have. I have these two, one for when I travel around for work, and one for when I'm just here in Jakarta, just in the office. I think these are good. And then I have one for my more creative pursuits. All right, so that's about it. That's how I set up my standard or regular sized traveler's notebook. I've explained to you what I'm going to be using it for, and please do share your own thoughts and ideas about how you've set up your own journals for this coming year. Happy New Year, everybody. This is Kai from Kai Craft. If you would like to watch videos like this, if you learned anything at all with my sharing, or if you've been inspired to put together your own work journal and creative journal, please leave me a comment below. Please subscribe so that you can watch similar videos as I go through this fountain pen explorations and journeys with you. All right, have a great day, everybody. Bye.